Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Final Play. I'm your host, Harrison, with my co-host.
I'm Mike. Hello.
And it's time to get into this episode of The Final Play, guys. So first we're going to go over Tampa Bay successes and problems. I think we all know where the problems are going to be. And then we're immediately just going to get into the matchup Sunday night. So let's go ahead and kick it off with Tampa Bay successes. What did you find as a success in that game?
No turnovers. Prescott was pretty accurate, and I think the plays were well designed. He was not pressured all that much, and when he was, he got away and scrambled for yardage, and they really couldn't get to him, and he had plenty of time to find all the people that we have at our disposal. It worked out. Because there was just everybody seemed to be open. They didn't know where to go, who to cover. It was just an overall really good game plan, and obviously the extra points.
And to our problems,
did not come back to haunt.
1 for 5 did not come back to haunt
this time.
The Maher moments that we predicted very early on in the season. You said it was going to be week 1 if we go back to, I believe it was episode 1 or 2 of The Final Play, but you believed it was week 1 against Tampa Bay. I believed it was going to be against Detroit, and we were both wrong.
I didn't think we should re-sign him anyway, even though I understand.
But now
the year he's had. But
now he had a very good season.
Yeah,
and this is what I was saying. I was saying this. I said, listen, this man could go out, and after he missed the first one, I'm like, this man could go on to miss 3 more extra points in the game. I guarantee you line him up for a field goal.
Let me just say,
he's going to knock it through the uprights.
The reason why you don't want Maher is you should not have to hold your breath every time he does an extra point. And that's how I am with Maher. Even through the whole season, every game, it was, I don't think he's going to make it. But he made him, right? But
we had that 2019 PTSD, and then this year, just in the wild card round, he brought all of those PTSD nerves back.
When we scored that first touchdown against Tampa Bay, the first thing I said was, he better make the extra point. I said that out loud and clear. Missed it. And from then on, I was ready to fire him. I was ready to cut him right there.
Yeah,
missed 4 more.
We want to talk about getting ready to fire somebody. After the first 2 drives, I was about done with Kellen Moore.
Yeah,
maybe because we can't have two straight 3-and-outs against the Niners.
No. However,
a success. What I will say that was a success was Kellen Moore outside the first 2 drives. You take the first 2 drives away, you look at everything else. We need that Kellen Moore from training camp all the way to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I can't have him from training camp to week 5 and then him disappear from week 6 to week 13. I can't have that. He needs to be like this 24/7. There needs to be a balance in the offense, which we're going to get into later. But now, ladies and gentlemen, on to the divisional round. I must hit this for you guys. We're in the divisional round. We won a playoff game.
That doesn't do anything for me.
We won on the road. Haven't done that since '92. Haven't won in the Navy uniforms. Couldn't tell you.
Super Bowls.
And we beat Tom Brady. We beat Brady. I get it. Brady had a bad year.
And Brady,
a lot of people
Brady's
had a bad year.
Also ancient.
Yes, he is. Very ancient.
I had no doubts we were going to beat the Buccaneers.
I agree.
As long as we didn't beat ourselves.
And we didn't. So now let's get into this Sunday night, 5:30, the most awkward start time. 5:30 Central Time for us here.
Yeah, they formatted it like the conference championship.
Yeah, So
whatever.
So before we jump into the Niner game, Saturday alone, could change. I think Saturday, the one game on Saturday, pending outcome, I think we're gonna see we would see two different games. If you got to see, if you were able to, within the multiverse, if you were able to see whatever the outcome is in our universe, and then you jump over, you have Loki skip you over to the other universe, and you get to see the other outcome, I guarantee you see two different games Sunday night. I can guarantee it. If the Eagles win, you're going to see two different teams out of the Niners and Cowboys. That's a guarantee because they both know whether they win, they have to. If they win, either or, they have to go to Philadelphia. But the outcome that I think both Cowboy and Niner fans are coming together on this weekend is the Giants winning. Because then you're going to see
the winner of the game.
The winner of the game gets to host the NFC Championship.
Right. Which is huge.
It is huge.
But for Dallas, let's talk about for Dallas.
For Dallas, that means so much because that's the first NFC championship since, what was it?
95. But what the point is, it will be one of the easier roads for Dallas to get back. So I mean, why would you squander that opportunity if all you got to Giants win? Let's just say then you take care of business in San Francisco. Well, you go home and historically you own the Giants, so beat the Giants at home, and guess what? Super Bowl.
You're in the Super Bowl. You're back in Glendale, Arizona,
and that's when the haters become the lovers.
No, we're still gonna get hated because.
Good.
My Super Bowl prediction can still stand. As of today, it can still stand. But here, let's get into the size ups here real quick. Okay. Everybody has been on the Brock Purdy hype train. This Brock Purdy hype train has been way too big for what I believe is my own liking. And I'll tell you why. Let's just go ahead and jump into when he gets starts, okay? He finally gets starts against a depleted Miami team. The team we smacked around just this last week. He played depleted Tampa Bay. He went to Seattle, was home for Washington, went to Vegas, was home for Arizona, and then was home again for Seattle. So here's my issues. Let's just go ahead and jump in. That was a very, very, very awful outing for Miami. And Miami, I believed was not that great, and they proved they were not that great.
They're not that good.
No, they're not. Tampa Bay.
They're not that good.
They're not that good of a team. Seattle. Potential as a young team,
They're not good enough.
but their defense was what was killing them all season. Washington. Really?
Not a good team.
Really? Washington?
No.
You go to Vegas and you win in overtime. Come on, guys. Arizona. You blow out. And Arizona
didn't have anybody.
No. And then you play Seattle again. Now, here's my problem. This is my main issue. Look at all those teams. Out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 teams that he's played. He's played a total of 7 games. Purdy's 7-0. 6 of those teams. 5 out of... You ready for this? This is my favorite stat. 5 of the 6 are... It's either 5 or 4 of the 6 are bottom 5 defenses.
The Niners have had great success with their quarterbacks in the past, and it hasn't equated to anything.
No,
it does not.
Jimmy G.
It got them to 2 Super Bowls, and they lost.
Jimmy G.
They're not anything special.
Jimmy G.
No.
Now, I will give everybody saying, "Oh, they're like they're the best team in the NFL." I don't think they are. If they were the best team in the NFL, needless to say, they have the number 1 seed. But I will say they have the most talented roster. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, but people underestimate how talented the Cowboys roster
People
is.
really do.
And they don't. They really just go, oh, Cowboys, same old. Well, you go by position. It's loaded. It's stacked.
It's very evenly matched.
Yeah.
I think people need to really notice that.
Yeah.
It is like if you break down, like here, I will give the Niners the starting offensive line, the linebackers. I will give them the running back room. No,
it's closer than we think.
It's a lot closer than we think.
Because Pollard can do anything McCaffrey can do.
I agree with that, but also it's C-Mac. C-Mac he's different. He's a lot different. Let's be realistic here. But again, I can't give the Niners the nod in the receiver room. I can't give them the nod in the defensive front room. I can't give them the nod in the secondary.
No, they don't. That's their problem. Is the secondary. They don't have a very good season secondary, and they could get lit up. They could get really lit up by Dallas if we deploy the full load, the full throttle.
I tell you right
it's
now,
gonna get ugly.
I'm predicting numbers to look like they have been this season. I think you're going to see Pollard with a big game. You're going to see.
Here's the secret to success for Dallas. You get a big lead on them, and then you know what they have to do to get back in the game, which is pass, and Purdy's not going to. If you put the game in Purdy's hands to win or lose, he's going to lose.
He is.
He's been playing with. I mean, if you look at most of those games, he probably played with the lead most of the time, right? He probably,
Here, let's see. The game in Miami. Let's go ahead and look real quick. If it would ever so love to show up. Let's see. It's only showing me like regular box score. I don't like it. Here we go. Dolphins versus Niners. San Francisco, 17-10. They have a lead. At half. Tampa Bay, I got a feeling they were running this. I got a feeling they were running that game the entire way through. If I remember, they ran that game entirely through and through. At Seattle, 14-3 at halftime. Washington, tied at halftime.
That's not a good sign either.
No, it's not. Vegas actually had the lead, 17-14 at half. Vegas had the lead. Not a very big lead, but they had a lead. And then we're going to get into Arizona right here. I believe the Niners had the lead in that game. Niners up 21-13. And then obviously, as we saw this last week, Seattle went in with the lead, but it was 17-16 at halftime.
And with the Rams, they were actually down 14-10 at half, and at that time they were 4-4.
So
went on to win, but
so my thing is that within the games that Purdy has seen, he hasn't seen a top 10 defense. He's only seen bottom 5 or bottom half defenses. He hasn't seen a top half defense.
Yeah.
And I understand there are people like, but
and if you look at the teams that they beat, I wouldn't call any of those high-powered offenses either. But when you run into the Chiefs, they lost. They got blown out.
But that's also
I understand. And it's pre-McCaffrey. I understand.
All their losses came pre-McCaffrey. Yeah. And my thing is you can get on, Tom Landry talked about streaking into the playoffs. But you're bound to get a loss when you're currently, what is it? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're 11-0. A loss is bound to happen.
Due to lose.
You are due to lose. That's number one. Number two, this is the revenge game from last year where we were not balanced.
Right.
Zeke had, 12 carries? Pollard had 4. And we had 44 pass attempts, 43 being Prescott, one of them being Brian Anger.
It's too predictable.
It is. The time has now come that this is a game where if you're Dallas, you have to take it to them. You have to take it to them. And I know
they got to know they've been in a fight. And I'm telling you, if we get a lead, if we jump on them early, the game will unfold so much differently in our favor, because that'll force them to have to pass. And Purdy has the luxury, or had the luxury, of passing to receivers that were open. That's how that's why he's playing good, because he's throwing to open receivers. Statistically, they do well at that. But if we can tighten up the coverage, make him throw into tighter windows, he may not be as successful.
But what are your key? Who are your key players? I want one offense, one and I mean, again, outside of the obvious. Once again, so for offense and defense, I want to take away for Dallas. I want to take away Prescott, and I want to take away Pollard. Defense, I'm taking away.
Yeah, but
last week, I'm gonna take away Diggs and Parsons because of the obvious.
But last week, it was Prescott who was. He was the guy that. Yeah. I mean, he was lights out. But I think, like I said, that's why I think I was going to say Parsons is probably the most important on defense, because if he can rattle Purdy, they're not going to be able to move the ball very effectively.
So you're taking Parsons.
I like Parsons. I just
Parsons
think
on defense. You're just gonna stick with the obvious.
He has to. Yeah, he has to come up really big to where they just have. If there's no answer for Parsons, they're dead. They can't do. They're not going to do that.
So who's your key player? Are you staying obvious with offense as well, or are you going to come up with somebody out of the woodworks?
Well, I think this particular game, it would help if we could control time of possession. So if we have a good run game, whether it be Pollard or Zeke, as long as we can get first downs and the 3 and outs have to stop, we have to sustain drives and come away with some points. Obviously, Maher can't. I mean, he didn't even attempt a field goal last week, but this might be a game where he's got to hit some field goals. But having said all of that, I believe
before we get into predictions, my key players. Are you ready for this? Which one you want first, defense or offense? Offense. I get it. He's new. But by golly, T.Y. Hilton is going to be a key factor in us winning this game. He's an unannounced factor. Defense. I'm going to stick with the guy I took last week. I'm taking Donovan Wilson. Donovan Wilson made really big plays in big-time moments last week against the Bucs. He did a lot of amazing things last week for Dallas, and I'm going to stick with Donovan Wilson. Donovan Wilson has been such a key player. He's stepped up a lot, and I mean, now he's getting a lot of different. I mean, with the veteran help that he has with Malik Hooker and Jayron Kearse, that's insane.
Yeah, I mean.
But now let's end on predictions. Saturday, we have Jacksonville, Kansas City. What do you got?
31-21 Chiefs.
I'll take Chiefs, only because of how high scoring the Chiefs are. I think the Chiefs will put a 40 burger up on the Jags. I'm saying 40. I could see 42-21.
Okay.
The game that determines how Sunday night game gets played. The Giants going to my ladies, Philadelphia Eagles. What do you got?
28-27 Giants.
You're taking the upset?
I'm not impressed with the Eagles either. No.
I'm not impressed with the
They
Eagles,
put 40 on them.
But I think
and
the
they're
Giants,
catching the Giants at the worst time.
well, I know the Giants are hot, but the Eagles.
And Jalen's not 100%. I don't think they're ready for that.
I don't think the Giants have the pass rush to get to him, and that's why
Here's
I
the-
have to.
yeah.
I have to stick with the Eagles. I have to
Okay.
stick with the Eagles. The Eagles. I get Danny Dimes is being Danny Dimes. Saquon is looking like prime
The
Saquon.
real deal.
But now my issue gets into that receiver room, and I can't trust a single receiver on that roster.
Yeah,
Maybe
they're not impressive at receiver, but
they're not impressive on defense either. So Danny Dimes and Dexter, a lot of these guys on both sides of the ball, like these are big names for them, but they have to step up and be what their name says. I'm taking the Eagles. I'll take them at your Chief Jack score 31-20.
okay. I think it'll be either way.
Sunday, Bengals at Bills. What do you got?
Bills 29, Bengals 27.
I'm just going to take into account that the the offensive line is awful. Nobody is considering the fact that the Bengals are missing on already their terrible offensive line, mind you. 3 starters. So there's 3 people not as good as those starters stepping up. If they were as good or better, they'd be starting, correct?
Yeah.
So they're not as good or better than said person.
No.
If Josh Allen goes out and does
that's why I have
if Josh Allen
they're still losing.
Well, if Josh Allen goes out and does what he did last week, I see that score. But if he's the Josh Allen that we all know and love, that everybody's fallen in love with and has him in the MVP race, I think that game is a blowout. I'm talking 45 to 13. That'll be a very easy game for the Bills. Now let's get to the game that is probably going to be another most watched game to go in the history books. Sunday night, the 9th meeting for the Dallas Cowboys and the 49ers in the playoffs. In 5, so far this Sunday night will be the 9th time. So they met 8 times. In 5 of the other 8 times, though, the winner has gone on to the Super Bowl. Who do you have winning Sunday night?
Cowboys 38-20, which is one of the final scores they beat them on in the 90s to go to the Super Bowl. That's why I picked that.
You went off of a 90 score?
Yeah, an actual ending. I believe it was the 93 NFC Championship game. We beat them 38-20, rather convincingly.
Well, I have. So here's what I gotta say. I'm gonna take Dallas, but I'm going to do a very similar score to last week. It's actually the exact same score. 27-24 Dallas. But I also see 50-50 once again. 27-24 Niners.
I was wrong. It was
So
38-21,
but I will take Dallas 27-24, but I could see the flip side. 27-24 Niners. But ending on that note, It was another amazing episode that we have just completed. I hope everybody likes and subscribes to the channel. We have a lot more content coming once the football season's over. I know we're running a little bit behind on basketball. We're going to catch you guys up on basketball. Baseball's right around the corner. Baseball's going to be coming in. A lot of good things coming to the channel very soon. And I hope that you guys are just with us along for the entirety of this ride. I mean, this is kind of crazy with where we're at now, but I'm hoping to expand us.
Yeah.
But with that being said, thank you guys for watching this episode. I'm your host, Harrison, with my co-host.
Mike, thank you.
Good night.